I understand you were at a doctor's appointment with one of your older children when you got the call from authorities, and then hours later, I mean, here's the video. Sheriff's Department sent it to us last night. You're put in handcuffs. What was going through your mind when you were being put in handcuffs in this moment, Brittany?
I was shocked. I was angry, frustrated, probably all those things at once, but mostly I was just trying to be calm for my kids because I didn't want them to worry.
Venezuela, mamá. Venezuela? ¿Sí? ¿Qué tantos años tienes? ¿Dos años? ¿No vienes con tu mamá y tu papá? ¿No? ¿Venezuela? ¿Para dónde vas, mamá? ¿Dónde están?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Opinions Vary, Opinions with an A. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we just saw a mother in Georgia getting arrested because her 10-year-old son, who lives in a town of about 370 people, was walking to the dollar store by himself, and she was out with her other son at a medical appointment. She was charged with endangering the welfare of a child or something, whatever the charge is in Georgia. Meanwhile, we have at the border, we have a 2-year-old who knows where she's from. She has a note in her hand saying her parents are somewhere in the United States and she needs to be brought to them. Now, are those parents going to be placed under arrest and deported? Is Joe Biden, Alejandro Mayorkas, or Kamala Harris going to be charged with endangering the welfare of children while we have hundreds of thousands of them missing and we have children like this crossing the border? Let's get into this. I want a couple of reports. We have News Nation and we have an NBC report. Let's go.
Of 4, shocked to be arrested in front of her children.
It was anger and frustration, of course, because my children were having to witness that.
All because her then 10-year-old son was spotted walking alone in Mineral Bluff, Georgia, a town with a population of about 370.
It's really not even a town, hardly. It's not a super dangerous or even dangerous at all stretch of road.
Brittany Patterson lives less than a mile from town with her father and children. On October 30th of this year, she had to take her eldest son to a medical appointment. Her youngest son, Soren, didn't want to come, she said, so she left him at home. Then she received a call from a police officer.
So when you got that phone call from the police officer saying, hey, do you know your kid is in town? What did you think?
I said no. I didn't know he was in town. I was not expecting them to say that, but I wasn't terrified for him or scared for his safety.
The police officer drove Soren home, she says, and made it clear it was problematic. Brittany didn't know where Soren was.
Okay. I was a police officer for 25 and a half years. We had situations where children would leave the home. They're reported missing. Now, what happened here is this child was left home. He's 10 years old. A lot of children are left home alone for short periods of time at 10 years old. I was left home alone at 10 years old all the time. And he wandered out. Thank God he was found safely. He's to be brought home and returned to his mother after you interview her and you see she's obviously a mother of 4. The house apparently is clean. Doesn't look like this child's neglected at all. He's to be returned home. And after she explains to you that I left, I told him to stay home. I didn't know he was going to town. I really appreciate you finding him. I'll talk to him. It won't happen again. And you say, thanks very much, ma'am. And we're glad we were able to return your son home safely to you. And you leave. You don't place the mother under arrest in front of her children. This is embarrassing. And whoever's running that police department should be fired. And the cops need to be retrained. This is a joke.
At that point, Brittany thought the ordeal was over until officers showed up that evening to arrest her.
They asked me to put my hands behind my back and all that stuff, and I realized what was going on.
Brittany was taken to county jail, booked, and then released on $500 bail.
Disgraceful.
She's now facing a misdemeanor charge of reckless conduct. The arrest warrant saying she, quote, knowingly did endanger the bodily safety of her juvenile son.
No, she did not. She left him home. He left the house. She didn't endanger him at all. He was left inside the home.
If found guilty, she could face up to 1 year in prison and a $1,000 fine. The DA's office didn't provide us with a comment. Local police declined to issue a statement, and we did not hear back from Child Services. Prosecutors asking Brittany to sign a safety plan before they'd consider dropping the charges, according to her lawyer.
We want to witness you downloading the app, GPS app to your son's phone. Okay. And then you've got to check on where he is. Really?
This is tyranny. This is tyranny. No wonder why Georgia's a swing state now, because they have tyranny within their state. We don't put ankle bracelets on hardened criminals in cities all over this country, and they want her to GPS her son in front of them? Where the hell are we?
And he's got to let you or grandma know where he is at all times.
But Brittany and her attorney are unwilling to accept this deal.
This is not right. I did nothing wrong. And I'm going to fight for that.
The story is striking a nerve as technology inundates our lives, giving parents more control over their children. So how much freedom should kids still get?
Like, are all parents going to have to put GPS on their child?
And when I asked about the law in Georgia, when it comes to kids being able to be on their own,
That parents get to decide for their children unless it is unreasonably dangerous.
and Brittany agrees, it should be a personal decision.
You know, part of it is knowing your neighborhood and knowing your area and what your level of comfortability is with each child.
An assessment Brittany made about Soren and hopes the DA will as well.
So you had this child who's obviously, he's 10 years old. He's not 5, he's not 6, he's not 7 or even 8, he's 10. He obviously even knows where the store is. He can walk there by himself. I'm betting this wasn't the first time he's done it. You're in a town of 370 people. Probably everybody knows each other in this town. Now, I'm very confused as to these cops. You show up at this woman's house. She seems like, you know how I could tell she's a good mother? Because when she was getting arrested, she didn't resist. And in this case, that must have taken a lot of restraint to think about your children and what they're seeing, and for you to act calmly and let yourself be arrested and fight this through the court system, which everybody should do. But in this case, if she would have resisted, I got to be honest with you, I don't know if I'd really have a problem with it. I really don't think so. Because this is tyranny. The child walked to the store, was found. Good job by the cops. You found them. You responded to the call. Maybe somebody called it in. They see a little boy. Who knows? They come, they get him, they bring him home. You talk to the mother, like I said. You find out what's going on. Sorry, officer. I left him home. I told him to stay home. He didn't listen to me. I'll talk to him. I really appreciate you returning him. End of story. Good deed for the day done. Go back to your patrol car and drive around and find something else to do. Now, let's get into the next part of the story where Fox News is reporting on our ridiculous border that we have because of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Alejandro Mayorkas, who, by the way, have never been charged with any crime. And now let's see what we're dealing with down there. And it's been going on for 4 years now.
Democrat cities and states are vowing to push back on President-elect Donald Trump's mass deportation plan.
It comes as shocking new footage shows unaccompanied migrant children as young as 2 years old crossing into Texas.
Madeline Rivera joins us live at the White House with more on that. Madeline.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Well, the Biden administration is facing a lot of pressure from immigration groups to take some sort of unilateral action to protect migrants. The White House says it has no new policies to preview, choosing instead to enforce laws that are already on the books.
Wait, they're choosing to enforce laws that are already on the books? Since when? They haven't enforced laws for the last 4 years. Now they're enforcing laws that are already on the books?
Democrat attorneys general, on the other hand, say they have been preparing for months, planning out how to Trump-proof their states. Still, polls have
Trump-proof their states. Why don't you crime-proof your states? These governors and these mayors, who keeps voting for these imbeciles? You need to be an imbecile to vote for these imbeciles. Who's the bigger imbecile? I don't know.
Consistently shown voters prefer some action in immigration. Yesterday morning, the Texas Department of Public Safety says they encounter a group of more than 200 migrants, and among them were 60 unaccompanied children, including this 2-year-old girl.
This is absolutely criminal. This is criminal. Alejandro Mayorkas needs to be tried for treason. When Trump gets in office, he needs to be tried for treason. This is treason.
Venezuela, mamá. Venezuela. ¿Sí? ¿Qué tantos años tienes?
Horrible.
¿2 años? ¿No vienes con tu mamá y tu papá? ¿No? ¿Venezuela? ¿Para dónde vas, mamá? ¿Dónde están? ¿Estados Unidos?
Per Texas DPS, that piece of paper that little girl was holding had a phone number and a name. Congressman Byron Donalds tells Maria Bartiromo on Sunday Morning Futures the Democrats' resistance come at their own peril.
I'm going to stop it for a second. Who's funding this? How is this child? Look how they're dressed in nice coats. How did they get fed? How did they get clothed? How did they get shelter on this journey? Who's writing this on this paper for her? This is a criminal enterprise, the likes of which we've probably never seen ever in this country. And it's at the hands of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Alejandro Mayorkas. And nothing has been done about it because we got a bunch of cowards in Congress, a bunch of cowards. And they're all culpable. They're all complicit. And whoever never said anything about this or tried to do anything about this, you should all be tried.
Democrat politicians have had a Marie Antoinette view of America for quite some time. And if they decide that they're going to oppose deportations that 57% of the American people want to see enacted, then they're going to have more political losses in the future. President Trump and his team are going to deport illegal immigrants out of the United States. That is the right thing to do. That's what the American people want to see happen.
That's the law.
Incoming border czar Tom Homan is expected to head to the Texas-Mexico border tomorrow, and he will be joined by the governor, Greg Abbott. Guys, back to you.
All right, Madeline, thank you very much. Speaking of Tom Homan, Tom was at an event last week where he was talking a little bit about how certain cities like Los Angeles, for instance, sanctuary city, which just passed a new ordinance that said they will not cooperate with federal immigration authorities. He said that, I'll send twice as many agents to a place like L.A. to make sure that it happens starting on day one, because ultimately they feel, and Tom Homan has said, that Trump's victory was so sizable, he's got a mandate to do what he promised he would do. And the thing he said was he was going to stop the flow across our southern border. And the good news is he would stop the flow of 2-year-old kids at our southern border who knows what kind of hell that kid went through before and will go through after they pass through the Texas DPS.
How are these kids? Who's watching? Listen, who's watching this 2-year-old kid? And look at this other kid right there in a black jacket behind him. Who's watching these children as they're making this journey from wherever they're coming from through Mexico? And Mexico, how about Mexico? How about we cut off all foreign aid to Mexico? All of it, until this nonsense stops. How do these people live with themselves? How do they look in the mirror? How do they go to sleep at night? You're a bunch of soulless cowards.
Little girl, she came over from El Salvador. She's only 2 years old. She's pretty smart to be 2 years old to be able to say, I'm coming to the United States. Here's my parents' phone number on this piece of paper.
Who's coaching her?
There were 211 illegal immigrants that entered in that area in Texas, the Maverick County area, and 60 of them were unaccompanied children like this little girl.
See, here's the thing. I think you need a PR team with Tom Homan. He's very good on camera, but so people understand this is not brutal. You have to understand we need to see inside these facilities. And we have to know that Joe Biden said, I have to move these people through as quick as possible. And that is one of the reasons why their objective is don't leave the kids in these facilities to get too overcrowded. So what do? Move them through. Don't ask any questions. Move them through. Put the DNA kits down. Move them through. But I think it's important when Tom Homan rolls this out. They want to show the image of Tom Homan callously saying these families that have been here 9 years and are just trying to work under the radar, they're the problem. They're not the problem. But it's not okay that they're here. But the primary thing is going to be get these unaccompanied minors with their families, number one. Number two, get the criminals out of here first.
Right.
And there's 1.4 million of them.
Which is going to take a long time.
Years.
And I think to your point, Brian, you know what's going to happen on the other side. You're going to have AOC and company crying at the gates again. By the way, they've been silent.
They should be. AOC and all these people who have advocated for this should be arrested. They should be arrested. Instead, we're arresting, like I said, we're arresting mothers in Georgia whose 10-year-old walked to the dollar store in his own neighborhood. Where the hell are we right now? And how do we get it back to normal again? We have a lot of work to do. Donald Trump has a lot of work to do.
For 4 years, when these kids have been coming across the border being trafficked, when people are dying because of the fentanyl.
Those are all military-age men.
There's been zero protests at the border. There's none of that. But that all is going to change the moment Donald Trump is sworn in. So I think you're right. You got to have a media strategy. You can't just do, because right now, remember, the country is for mass deportation. They once weren't. So you got to be prepared when the left does the outrage tour to combat that.
Right. Robert Holder is coming up shortly, is somebody in New York, Democrat, that says get rid of the sanctuary. It's not legal. Stop with the sanctuary city status.
Ultimately, I don't know how much of a PR team Tom Homan's going to need, because I don't think images like that, where there are 211 migrants on American soil, is going to happen. We've heard that the president wants the Remain in Mexico policy reinstated, and it sounds like he's going to be talking to the president, probably already has talked to the president of Mexico, saying, stop them on your side.
How about this? You stop them on your side, or you never get another dime again, ever. You never get another dime from this country again. It's real simple. And tariffs, too. We'll tariff you at 1,000% of everything that comes across that border.
Don't need the problem over here. I'm just going to send them back. Don't let it happen. Tom Homan had a great observation. We have talked about how it is an invasion on our southern border ever since 9/11, and in fact, he invoked that yesterday.
I think the media is wrong in just about everything they print. Look, we need DOT. I'm hoping we get DOT's assistance, and I think President Trump can make that happen. I agree with you. The southern border, I've been saying this for almost 4 years. What's happening to our southern border is the biggest national security vulnerability this country's seen since 9/11. We know terrorists have crossed that border. Just take Tren de Agua, for example. They are a threat to our national security. The cartels of Mexico have killed 250,000 Americans with fentanyl. We have a lot of dangerous people in this country. We need to find and remove them, because they directly pose the biggest national security threat to this country right now. And even Christopher Wray, who I have zero respect in, even he's testified numerous times, this is a huge national security threat.
And he's done nothing about it. Another one. Add him to the list to be in handcuffs. Add Christopher Wray to the list. Ask another one. Treason. Treason. Are we a serious country or not? Treason. It's what this is.
We got that caravan coming here now, still on its way. Yeah. It takes 18 days.
They better hurry before January 20th.
Right. But when they get to the border, I think they're going to get stopped. I mean, 100%. If they don't get broken up, they don't get broken up immediately. It's so weird that the current administration is like they're not even doing anything. No. They're not protesting when the Trump people get involved. They're not talking to the press at all. I don't even know why they even haven't, press availabilities. It's as if they phoned it in. The vice president goes to Hawaii, coming back today. President's going to go to Staten Island and do something at a shelter for Thanksgiving.
He's pardoning turkeys today.
I was listening to some of the media commentary, and they were all outraged that Donald Trump hasn't done a press conference ever since he's become president. I'm like, wait a minute. Where's the current president of the United States? Have we just decided that he's a non-factor while he has the nuclear codes? We're more concerned about the president-elect than the current commander-in-chief?
Right.
Lawrence, they've been doing this for 4 years. We haven't had a president in 4 years. We haven't had one in 4 years. We are living in the twilight zone, literally for 4 years now. So I said, where the hell are we?
Could I just say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What upsets me is when you see these little pictures of these little girls. That little girl is 2 years old. What is going on? Where are her parents? Why? I mean,
her parents could have sent her.
But what parent does that? Yeah, what parent can do that?
They need to be arrested.
A good point, Asa, because the conversation is gonna change into Donald Trump is separating families. What about the families coming across the border that's already separated?
Right? And who's bringing her over? Are they rapists?
Coyotes?
Are they cartels? Are they coyotes? How much are they getting paid? Who's paying them? Where are her parents? Is that really your parents' name and number on the slip?
Right. And the little girl, the parents might have been paid money by somebody to ship her off. We're always talking about how some guy gave a coyote $5,000 to cross the border. Other situations, they're paying for people.
That is neglect. That's neglect.
Is Rachel Maddow going to start crying about this, about that little girl? Is she going to be on MSNBC? I got to hand this off. Is she going to be doing that about this 2-year-old? You're not going to hear a word, not a peep, nothing. Until if Trump was in office, there'd be buckets of tears all over the news desk if that came on the air.
Right. And how many times have we talked about the influence of for instance, the Venezuelan gangs and stuff like that? If you looked at the video that we just showed you, they're all young men. They are all teenage men who we
military
see,
age.
because we work one block from Times Square, we see young men, teenage men like that all the time. I thought a woman in the second row, third row, but they're all single guys, which we had heard they were going to stop.
Yeah, they never had any intention of stopping it, ever. And if Donald Trump would have lost, this would have gone on in perpetuity. All of this. We have a mother getting arrested, American citizen, in Georgia for what we saw. And we have 2-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds, and we have a bunch of military-age men crossing our border by the thousands every day. Nobody's arrested. Nobody's held responsible. Where the hell are we? We need to get this country back, and we got to get it back fast. If they need me to go down to the border and drive some people out, I'll do it. I'll volunteer. Would any of you? Let me know in the comments. We need to get this country back. We need to secure our borders. We don't have a country without one. And what they're doing to these little children this is inhumane. What happens to that 2-year-old? Right, and I always say it, they caused this problem. We're going to try to solve the problem. We're going to be the problem now to them. Now we're the problem because we have to do something with this 2-year-old. And this 8-year-old. And these 20-something-year-olds. And these 15-year-olds that are pouring over our border. We have to do something about it. So now we're the problem. Solving the problem they caused. When is enough enough? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you all watching. Continue to follow me at Opinions Vary.